Welcome back to FreezeME. Last time we turned into a Super Saiyan and we have to go collect a lot more golden cubes to get onto the moon and save our friend. So let's hurry up and get to that. Oh, by the way, we can kind of fly now. So there are collectibles we neglected to touch for the first half of the game, and these would be green coins. If we collect 10 of them, we can trade them in for a golden cube, and we need to find all of them. We're also going to be talking to the pigs around. We ignored them for the first half of the game as well, and this is because a lot of them give us the green coins. Not this guy though, this guy's just complaining. Even though we can't help him get his business back, we can hop on top of his store, which is called the Convenience Spork, and get our first green coin. And then we're gonna hop over here and terrify this other pig. I mean, I did say they gave us the green coins, I didn't say we had to be nice about it. If you talked to this pig before, he just mentions how he doesn't think anything could scare him. But now that we're in rage mode, he gets terrified and gives us his coin. This being the first world, a lot of the green coins are incredibly easy to find. You can collect a pretty decent amount of them just by talking to all the pigs that are sitting around, but we do need all of them. This game actually forces you to 100% it if you want to see the ending. I imagine that would upset a few people who are used to not having to collect everything in order to finish a platformer. But no, in this game you have to collect everything. I think it's time we got some more use out of our camera. The poor thing's been neglected for most of the game, even if there were a couple of cute uses for it. When this pig is done violently assaulting our face with his mustache, we will have to freeze one of the weights as it lands on a scale, so there can be 2 on it at a time. We do have to time this properly because the weight will vanish after it unfreezes. Fortunately, the timing is very lenient. I do find it a little bit humorous that he just has this giant scale. He doesn't need a house or anything else, he just has a giant scale. And apparently Fat the Cat is such an asshole that he's trying to break it with steel balls. Still, I like talking to the pigs and helping them. They may not be exactly bursting with personality, but I like helping people in general. So if we could find all the green coins just by helping people, I wouldn't have any complaints about that. But alas, not all of the green coins are found in such a way. For example, here is one just sitting around on this log. This log that's very easy to fall from. So as soon as we land, we're just going to jump again. But now that that's out of the way, we can go back to helping the nice folks of, Sunshine Valley. Like this unfortunate mother over here who hasn't seen her daughter in a week, apparently. I mean, I understand you don't look like you're built for climbing or anything like that, but did it not occur to you to try and use the teleporters or anything? Luckily for her, we do know how to use the teleporters, so we can come up here and talk to her daughter. And take a picture of her. This freezes her very briefly, but it also provides us with a photo to give back to the poor mother. I don't know how exactly technology works in this place, but maybe they should invent the phone. Maybe we should tell them how the phone works, that way we would be rich. Rich in pig coins, which we need. We need all these coins to finish the game. Maybe if we told them how much we needed them, they would just give them to us. This guy challenges us to slide down his favorite slide from his childhood. And normally we would have to actually do the slide down the hill. But with our increased Super Saiyan speed, we can just run through all 4 flags. This is one of like 2 situations in the entire game where the increased speed is useful. I suppose the increased speed is useful also in that it lets you get around the game world faster. And I am slightly grateful for that. Before we talk to this fellow with the sombrero, we're gonna bother with these logs that tried to attack us earlier in the game. There's actually a green coin floating in the air, and we need to freeze one of the logs right next to it so we can get that coin. We do have to freeze it in just the right spot, though. I think this is a little bit weird. I mean, I assume most people would save the collecting of the green coins until the second half like we are doing. but the ability to explore the worlds is a big part of the selling point. There are also some green coins you just can't actually get until you have the Super Saiyan powers, so it's even encouraged to save them until the second half. But this means the second half of the game is way different from the first. Now it's time for us to talk to that sombrero-wearing fellow. And he has a special challenge for us, as most of the pigs do. He wants us to stand on all of the platforms with his face on the side. The weird thing about these pictures, though, is that they're all wanted posters. So whoever this pig is, he did something bad. Or he could just be the victim of an unjust justice system. Either way, stepping on all these platforms takes way less time than 30 seconds. I would go so far as to say that the main challenge is just figuring out which platforms to step on and not stepping on the platforms itself. But with a few exceptions here and there, collecting the green coins is not the challenging part of the game. For touching all of his wanted posters, the pig is nice enough to give us a green coin. Maybe he stole it. Now it's time to see what the game considers a puzzle. And let me give you a hint, it's not really a puzzle. We press this switch which spawns blocks, and according to this pig, we need to push the blocks to the top, left, and right. In case for some reason you can't tell where the top, left, and right are, there are a bunch of signs around that will explain that for you. It is merciful that you don't have to push too many things in this game because the pushing mechanics are not great. It is nice that they made it so easy to move them up and down, but at the same time this also makes them really fidgety. I guess we could press the red button to start over if we screwed up, but I've never screwed up, so I can't be sure. I enjoy the idea that this pig was just sitting here with this puzzle waiting for someone to come along and solve it. Following the current trend of the pig coins being really close to each other, the next one is also really nearby, and it's just sitting out in the open, across some platforms. Some very colorful platforms at that. Now, traversing the colorful platforms isn't so much of a challenge, but the crumbling platforms actually give me a little bit of trouble this time. Fortunately for you, I cut out all my mistakes. They were pretty rookie mistakes anyway, and thankfully the crumbling platforms do respawn. That being said, I eventually give up on them entirely in favor of showing off the flight ability some more. The flight ability is incredibly useful, and I intend to show it off a lot, but I'm not going to include a bunch of filler just to show it. I suppose I could have just flown straight to the green coin, but, you know, hindsight. And there isn't really a green coin over this way, but I decided to fly over here anyway just to talk to the pig. He doesn't have anything important to say, but I think it's interesting that he is, the second pig to complain about a lack of sales lately. Maybe it's because his stand keeps dancing. If you recall correctly, I said that this game forces you to 100% it. And that's almost true. There is a single collectible that is optional. But if you're a sane person, then the game forces you to 100% it, and you would never find these. Your life and my life would be so much less confusing if these collectibles weren't a thing, but alas they are, and as such I need to collect them. I mean, if I'm gonna collect all 40 golden cubes, I might as fucking well, right? After we turn all of these blocks green, they explode into coins, and one of the blocks has a fucking salamander in it. And if we take a picture of the salamander, we can add it to our collection. There are a total of 14 salamanders in the game, and we need to get them all to unlock some goodies. Now back to the more sane collectibles, we can talk to this snorkel pig, and he'll tell us we need to swim through 5 rings before time runs out. Now the swimming controls are not exactly stellar, but this is still a pretty easy challenge. As long as you dive into the water from the right spot, that is. If you jump too far, you'll have to turn around, which will cost you valuable time. You also don't seem to swim any faster while you're in Super Saiyan mode, unfortunately. It would have been a nice addition, but I suppose the swimming is not really an important part of the game. It is now time to collect the first green coin I have ever collected in this game, and it's hidden behind this waterfall. Of course I check behind the waterfall, because don't you think it's kinda suspicious? I mean, what does this waterfall think it's doing just hanging out right there? And now it is time to check out those beautiful expansive mountains in the background, which turn out to not be all that expansive, but at least we can explore them at all. In order to do that, though, we're going to need a screw. Thankfully, we have plenty of screws. Everybody gave us a screw. I've only mentioned this briefly before, but the catapult is limited in where exactly you can aim it, presumably because if you could aim it everywhere, then you would be able to break the game pretty easily. This time we're aiming to land inside this giant enclosure, and I'm sure I don't need to tell you why. It's nice that whoever built that thing thought ahead far enough to place a button there, because otherwise we would have been trapped in there forever. That also makes me a bit curious about how the button got there, though. Did they drop it there from the outside or what? Maybe they shot it in there using the catapult. We need to turn all these blocks green just like the previous ones we saw, and our reward is yet another salamander. You might think that the salamanders are just something of an Easter egg again if you were a sane person. But if you're not, then you're going to collect them all. It is important to remember that the salamanders do not count as collected until we take a picture of them. Speaking of salamanders, there is yet one more in this same area where we're already located. This one's just kinda hanging out behind a tree by itself. That's all the salamanders in this level collected, and there's only one more green coin we need. And it's actually right next to where the last golden cube of this level is, over here on this little island. Now with all the green coins collected, all we need to do is collect 150 red coins, and then we'll have 100%ed this level. So what do you say to a montage of me getting all the coins? Well, too bad, because you're getting one anyway. Now all we have to do is turn in those green pig coins we got to the green statue, 10 of them to be exact, and we'll get a golden cube.